Yes, my favorite meeting. That same month, I was told that I was going to be meeting with the Draco Alliance. And the Draco Alliance the people I was going to meet with were a Draco White Royal and some of the insectoids that were there with the Draco White Royal. That's supposed to represent me, and this 14-foot tall monster was one of the top White Royals. I've had a lot of people say it was inky and stuff like that. He gave me his name, and it was nothing like that. It was a very Middle Eastern sounding name. I made the mistake of telling David, and he calls the name out all the time. And I'm telling him, do not say the name out loud. It's not a good idea. What sticks out the most, beyond how invasive this being was when it interfaced with you, was the smell. It was kind of a musky urine smell. It was horrible. And there were, I thought there were 6, but Gonzalez said there were 5 women that were there that were obviously slaves. And as we left, we were able to bring them with us as a part of, as a good faith towards the negotiation they were trying to get us to take to the SBA. They were human girls, yes. They were all blondes. I was taken by a different shuttlecraft to I'm believing it was somewhere in the southwest United States. From the top of we landed on the roof of a hotel, an abandoned hotel, and looking out, I could see a desert environment. We went down an elevator that, just like in the movies, a glass elevator in the front, and you look down, and it's kind of like one of those garden hotels. And as we were going down, we could see all these beings standing out below us and it was just a very ominous feeling. You're getting closer and closer and closer to them. And these were obviously very evil beings. At this point, the Royal White reached out and grabbed my mind, and immediately all I could perceive was this being. Everything else in the room I didn't even know existed, and its eyes started morphing, changing colors, and just, I really don't know how to explain it. They kept almost pulsating, and it took me off guard. I'd never had a being communicate with me that was that powerful. Now, there were humans there. There were humans there that were a part of this committee of 200. And they overheard what was going on and reported it to the rest of their different cabal groups. And this caused, for a short time, a huge uprising among the cabal, because this white Draco offered to leave all of their lower caste and human servants in the hands of the global authorities if they were allowed to leave from our solar system. So this was seen as a major betrayal by a lot of these cabal groups and other non-terrestrials that are a part of this alliance. Yeah, I was lucky enough not to be the one that delivered this news, but the request was denied, and I refused to ever meet with another one of these beings ever again. And not too long after Gonzalez had the same experience as I did, he thought that I was exaggerating the power of this being, and it took 3 days to get over this etheric hangover that this being gave me. It was a massive headache all to the back of my skull. And then Gonzalez ended up having the exact same experience.
White Draco, that you had that intense thing, one of the main leaders who's using all that. I mean, did they know that that was coming? Like that the blue spheres were, they've cleaned up other systems obviously before us?
Yes, there are, I'm told, 2 star systems that the Draco have retreated to, and ours is unfortunately one of their strongholds. So they've all been kind of chased to this one star system mainly, and they're going to be dealt with here. I wish they were being dealt with in another star system.
Right. So there's one other star system that, and they used to range out there, and
yeah, the closest 12 or 13 stars in our local star cluster were completely controlled and managed by the Draco at one point. But that wasn't, it's not always consistent. Throughout time, we've had Nordic groups, different groups that have come in and chased the Draco away, and then the Draco always come back. They always came back. And there's one group that works very closely with the Draco, and we've assumed that they are a conquered race, or they're a race that made a deal with them, much like the German breakaway group did, that fight alongside them, and a lot of people will see, and they'll call them Nordics. They have a little bit longer of a forehead. They have kind of a chili bowl cut around. They all have the same haircut. And they have 6 fingers in each hand. And they're very muscular, they're very large and muscular.
right. The contactee Bob Bernaud, who was giving information and who works with a group called the Corindorians, he calls them the Omegans, and said that they're part of they actually call them the syndicate, and they're basically just very ruthless, and they want what they want, and they take what they take, and they get what they get, and it is kind of like about
yeah, they're very militaristic and rough group to work with.